session. But that being said, we're going to go ahead and get started. My name is Juan Arrieta, and I am part of the Ed Tech and Design Department. I'm an instructional specialist within it. And one of the basically things that we like to um, tackle first whenever we're starting the sessions is just a short recap or review of the services, some of the services that we offer, among many. And that is, through the Lighthouse program, basically onboarding, which means, it's basically getting you, some basic things out of the way, such as Smart Home Basics, Smart Lumio, Cami, Canvas, and so on and so forth, through the offering of a number of professional development sessions, as well as uh, excuse me, teacher coaching, like one-on-one, small group, or perhaps grade level. We do that quite frequently. Uh, Besides like just overall educational technology coaching, we also offer specific uh, targeted trainings uh, that are focused on a given app, such as Seesaw, Smart Lumio, Canvas that you see there. We attend and participate in PLC and grade level collaboration meetings, as well as help campus administration with future ready planning. And you gotta please, I beg you, excuse me because I am getting a little bit sore from all the talking over the last 3 days. So you'll see me. I'll be going and keeping hydrated. With that, the last two bullets in there is to help build across the board EdTech sustainability on the campuses, and then to generate and facilitate self-paced PD via the EdTech portal. You already know and have heard about, the things that we offer through that, through what I just covered in our department, EdTech Design. The one thing that I'll point out is that on Twitter, you can follow us at SAISD_EdTech. And then the objectives for the sessions are listed there. There are three. I like to divide things in threes. The first one is to be able for you to just simply understand. The most important thing is that in order for you to use it well, you need to know how to access it. How to access that tool within the BrainPOP platform for any topic. And then once you are able to access it, how to add and edit key components, such as introductory letters, the scenes, vocabulary words, voice, and images. And we're going to be basically taking this approach as if you are the student, because obviously, in order for you to teach them or to help, model for them, you're going to need to know how to do that yourself. And then last but not least is how to assign, excuse me, and make a movie to your students. Through your participation in this lesson, you're going to be able to grow on those two t-test dimensions that you see listed there, 2.1 and 1.4, where you are supporting all learners in their pursuit of high level of academic and social emotional success, and then planning engaging and flexible lessons that go above and beyond. They're not just like, surface level things, they're higher order thinking. Last but not least, as far as ISTE, basically you're facilitating learning with technology to support their achievement of the ISTE standards. This is basically the steps that we're going to follow in there. Basically, I'm going to share with you also one takeaway. I love to have the takeaways so that you can basically, it's a ready-made turnkey product. The first one that I have listed there is a step-by-step guide. And then, as I mentioned earlier, how to access the tool, how to get started, with it, providing the first one is student choice, which is going to be the BrainPOP letters, working with scenes. And then we have built-in time As a matter of fact, it's probably going to be expanded. I looked at it. I was like, you know what? I want to make sure that there's plenty under. That part to me is key. And then last but not least is to understand how to assign them to your students and then cover any questions. All right. So I'm going to exit out of here because, again, as I'm in any session that I attend, I love to have takeaways. I'm going to copy this link. I know that you have it.
Excuse me, Mr. Arrieta?
Yes.
Can you please mute everybody, because somebody's not muted and it's really hard to hear you because they're not muted.
Absolutely. I'll go in there now and do that.
Thank you.
Thanks for letting me know.
And because of our relationship, it gave me a much greater.
All right. Looks like that killed the noise there. Thank you so much for letting me know. All right. So I'm going to go into the chat and paste the link to the step-by-step. Okay. The step-by-step basically guide. So if God forbid something happens to your Wi-Fi at any point during the session and you get disconnected, well, this is the second takeaway, basically resource that you already have left. I shared earlier the presentation so you can follow it on your own. And then this one actually goes little step by step by step by step through all the way at the end as far as what you need to do in order to utilize and take advantage of this awesome resource within BrainPOP. Hey, Casey, it's awesome to see you here. Thanks so much for joining. I see one of my teammates here, Miss Casey Main. Hey, Casey, would you mind doing me a favor and manning the chat box for me, please?
Yes, I will monitor the chat and let me know if you make me a presenter or co-organizer. I can handle any of the other settings and functions.
Yeah, let me do that because there were a number of people still joining. I will do that right now. All right, there you are. Thank you so much, Casey. I appreciate it. All right, so I'm going to go back in here. And again, that was a step-by-step guide. I want to make sure that you have that on your side in case we get disconnected or you need to reference it in the future. You have that. So the very first thing, accessing the Make a Movie tool. All right. If you are within SAISD, pretty straightforward. It's just a simple matter of accessing ClassSync and single sign-on, and then going on to the search window and just simply searching for BrainPOP. When you find it, you will, click on it. This is going to look a little bit different for you. For you, it should take you directly to the dashboard. For me, because I'm an EdTech instructional specialist, it has me basically select a campus at the beginning. But then once I'm there, I enter it, and for you, you will be able to then go directly into this dashboard. If you're not in SAISD and you're not familiar with the process of accessing BrainPOP in your district, my recommendation is for you to get in touch with your EdTech IS department so that they can help you get that, basically identify how to do that. Hopefully they do have a subscription because it is an outstanding. I can't recommend it enough in terms of the wealth of resources that touch across every content that we get involved in our field of education. All right, so that is how to access it. And by the way, I maybe skip, but I will touch it in here. Let me actually go back. Let me go back 2 steps.
Does it matter if we're in BrainPOP or BrainPOP Junior?
No, and that's what I was going to touch. I'm going to actually back up 1 step because depending on your subscription level, you'll have access to both. the truth of the matter is that my recommendation is that if you can, just try to access BrainPOP, just simply because it has a larger collection of material and resources. But it truly doesn't matter. The stuff that I'm going to show with Make a Movie, even if you're in BrainPOP Junior, you should have access to at that level as well. Okay. So once you are within BrainPOP, then it's just simply a matter of identifying the topic that you're going to work with. Let me actually get somebody to unmute and tell me, what do you teach and what's a topic that truly garners your interest, so that we can search and model, based on something that's meaningful for you. Don't be shy. Please unmute yourself and just tell me again, and we'll go from there.
U.S. history.
U.S. history, okay. So something like maybe the 13 colonies, right?
Yes. Or
Perfect.
well,
Okay.
geography, anything there.
Okay, perfect. Well, here we go. I searched 13 colonies and look at that. 19 results matching just the 13 colonies search. All right, so that tells you, all right, that there is an extensive set of topics and resources tied to just that search string alone. And then I get 19 results. Basically, like you see there, regions of the 13 colonies, building the 13 colonies, American Revolution, Declaration, all of that ties to the 13 colonies. So I'm going to go ahead and select building the 13 colonies. All right. And notice how when I select that tile that gets me to the topic itself, I get this menu. Off to the right, that gallery of images is being displayed, kind of like the carousel that you see there. That's the movie. But then the adjacent tiles to the right provide me access to the other tools that accompany this topic. And the one that we're going to be speaking about or talking about covering is the Make a Movie, which is the second one in the center to the right. And so I select it, and voila, there comes the splash screen for Make a Movie. And it always starts off with this, where we are big on student choice, and so is BrainPOP. All right, student choice is so important. Anyone, please unmute. Why is student choice important? Can anybody help me out?
It helps with student buy-in.
Huge. It's the truth is the matter is that's honestly the world that we become, and because it's so important, is you want to feel like you have a choice in things, and it starts off with education. Whenever you say, hey, you know what, here we go, this is a perfect example, we're going to start moving, but you know what, you can either answer a letter or write a new one. The second that you provide that, all of a sudden, it's exactly what you're saying. There's more buy-in versus this is what you're going to do, and you're going to do it my way or it's the highway. Right away, when you take that approach, more like some people, they shut down. They kind of like, oh, God, I have to do it her way or his way. But here we are being provided a choice. All of a sudden, there's more engagement, more participation. All right. So I like, in particular, the answer a letter. Instead of writing new, starting from scratch, I want to go ahead and just answer one. Let's see what happens when we click on answer a letter. Oh, look at that. More choices. All right, more choices. Choose this one on the left or the one on the right. First one just has a question: how did the 13 colonies make money for England? Or what were the navigation acts and how did they impact the colonies? All right. Or again, I am provided that third choice is still providing there where I can write up a new one. I'm kind of like curious, all right, perhaps looking at it from the student point of view of how the 13 colonies made money for England. So I'm going to go ahead and choose that one. It starts there. And so what it does is it already, the next step, it pre-populated, all right, my very first scene. And that's the first thing that I want to describe is that if you look towards the upper left-hand corner of the screen, it has what? A number 1. And it has that letter. When I select it, notice what happens. It actually, it pulled the name from my sign-in. It knows my name is Juan. And it included my friend Moby, all right? And it has that first question that I chose on the letter. How did the 13 colonies make money from England? From a friend. But again, that is scene number 1. So it's already a bit of a turnkey process. I'm not having to go through this complicated set of steps in order to get my movie started. It already built that for me. And then it provided the start of the second scene, scene number 2, where it's facilitating me to build using a set of images and backgrounds here on the left-hand side where you see that green margin where again is providing those images. The sound below them allowing me to annotate and draw within each scene. You know, another thing that I want to go ahead and point out in terms of like where the navigation and the build out of the scenes is located is again on the upper left hand corner of the screen. If you notice between the 1 and the 2, we see what appears to be like a book icon. All right, and that is a transition. When I select that transition, that book icon, or what appears to be a book icon, it might not necessarily. So I'm given a choice, a short menu, to switch the transition to be from a general cut scene to a fade in and out, or a crossfade, a wipe left, or a wipe right. All right, and I can probably provide like a variety, you know, on that. I'm going to go ahead and pause right here because I saw some like a bit of feedback on the sessions that we've had so far, like overall. And I've noticed that a number of people have asked that, hey, you know, kind of like slow it down a little bit, making sure that we're getting this material that we're, you know, sharing with you across, you know, properly and that you're all understanding it. So I'm going to go ahead and have a short pause in here to allow you to please unmute. Any questions on the chat, Casey, at all?
We did just have Miss Lamb. She said she did not see a make a movie option in BrainPOP Junior, but there are some other cool options for them.
Okay, Miss Lamb, if and you can please feel free to either put on the chat or on mute. When you entered, were you given the choice of accessing just BrainPOP altogether and in addition to BrainPOP?
I have the option, but I teach kinder, and so I've looked through BrainPOP, and it's kind of above their heads. But I know I can pull some things. I was looking through what they had available.
Yeah, they got a number of things in there as well, like related reading and so on and so forth, so games. But yeah, there might be, like I mentioned, you know, more resources there on BrainPOP itself. Thank you. Any other questions at all before we move on? All right, so we'll cover the getting started, working with scenes. So let me go ahead and back that out now. So again, we have that letter, okay? And notice how when I've got the scene number 1 with the letter selected, I am able to, by choosing one of the selected tiles in here, to change the background that is displayed for that scene, and it's outside of the letter itself. So I can go like blue, I can go the yellow, orange, and so on and so forth. Okay, I can control that. I can edit the letter by clicking on that left button there. I can say, hey, it's not good. It's one, and I like it to be like, regular casing. And I am working with my friend Casey. She's partnering up with me. So I modify that to be from Dear Juan and Moby to Dear Juan and Casey. And then let's say that we are also incorporating one of my other teammates, Celeste. So I updated that. And so there you see how it can be a great way for them to work together and collaborate as a team, as a group. In addition, and this part is also key, more of that student choice. We can click on where it says add sound. We can add sound by choosing this button here on the last set on the left. And we can either use that robotic computer voice, which I'd rather not have. And instead, I can say, you know what? We're going to go ahead and practice recording my voice. So recording in 2, 3, 2, 1. Dear Juan and Casey, how did the 13 colonies make money for England? From Celeste. Now, obviously, Celeste would have a different voice in mine. Otherwise, we'd have to wonder if that was Celeste or who. But once we get that recorded, we can have a preview. We have an opportunity for a preview in here by clicking on the play button. 1. Dear Juan and Casey, how did the 13 colonies make money for England? From Celeste. All right. And once we've gotten an opportunity to preview it, we can either keep it by clicking on the orange save button in here, or we can say, no, we didn't like the way that sounded. Or, yeah, you know what? The one that should be reading that in our team is Celeste. I know that you wrote it, but it should be Celeste who's writing that. So let's go ahead and trash it. And we can record and have Celeste add her voice to it. All right. So that is how you would add voice to or sound to the introductory letter. And by the way, you can do that with practically any of the scenes. And by the way, in case you were wondering, the students can add all the way up to 20 different scenes in their movie creation here within BrainPOP. All right, so now that kind of just goes over the process of editing that letter, let's just go ahead and go into the scene number 2. Scene number 2. Please feel free to pause, have me pause and unmute yourself, or place a question on the chat box, and Casey will alert me to address it. So, building the scenes following from scene number 2 on, you have an ability to use the images that are displayed there, as well as any other images that they can think of. For example, I'm going to say, yes, I have the flag for the 13 colonies that we see here. I'm dragging and dropping it onto the canvas for the movie scene, but I can also search for other flags in here by typing just simply the keyword, flag in there. And let's perhaps say that they want to do a comparison between the current flag and the flag at the time of the 13 colonies. You see how I then have access to the current flag, so I can drag and drop it and include that on my scene. More again of that important student choice and why the title of it, and the main just message that we're trying to communicate with all of this, right? It's about creativity. It's about letting them just express themselves and the learning that they've acquired through your instruction. When we add that, let's say those two components in there, we want to perhaps annotate it. Okay, so we use the button that has a large T on the left margin there with a green aqua color that says annotate, and we can take advantage of some pre-built components and digital resources that are available there for you, whether it's a white strip label, a darker strip label that we can just basically just drag and drop. And once we add it in there, we can current flag, or we can add the white one and just simply label them to, again, have a way to demonstrate the knowledge that we've picked up. We can then basically perhaps have some other indicators to add and demonstrate what we're trying to communicate. Let's just say that that's, scene number 2. As I mentioned earlier, we also have the option of adding sound by simply clicking on that button and saying, use computer voice or record my voice. Record my voice, using it again, recording 3, 2, 1. Here are 2 flags. The first one is the 13 colonies flag. Basically, that was created at the time, and we are comparing it with what it looks like today with the 50 states, our current flag for our country. Boom, that gets recorded. Once it gets loaded, I'm going to have an opportunity to preview it using this button up here. Here are 2 flags. The first one is the 13 colonies flag. Basically, that was created at the time. I'm going to stop it right there. I'm going to say that I'm going to save it. And now I have scene number 2. I also have the flexibility of including drawings if I wanted to. Let's say that I wanted to mark them up somehow. I click on it, and as you can see, it defaults to 3 different sizes of pencils with color choices that I can go with. I am a huge fan of orange. I don't know about y'all, but that is the best color in the world. So I'm going to select it, and I can basically use it to mark up whatever it is. Let's say that I wanted to it's not letting me. There we go. Let's say that I wanted to do it that way. Any sort of marking that I wanted to make, it just gets added to the canvas. And then I click on save. And that is part of my scene. All right. I am done with scene number 2. I want to continue. And all I have to do is just click on the plus sign to add a scene. And I can then just basically just repeat the process of building using either the keywords that I selected or the preloaded images that come, from that topic within BrainPOP. And again, all I have to do is just slide them over to the canvas, and they will load. I can size them once they're in there, and mark them up as you noticed that I saw that I just showed a few seconds ago. Again, it's just going to be that same process each and every time. I can change the background the same way that I did with the letter. It takes sometimes a few seconds to load, but then after a couple of seconds, it updates it so that it fits basically what I would like the scene to look like at that stage. Very well. I'm going to go ahead again and make another pause, in here to see if you have any questions to this stage regarding how to build scenes within the BrainPOP's make a movie tool. Any questions whatsoever? Don't be shy, please. All right, if there are no questions at this time, well, guess what? It is now time for you to explore and practice, because it's not really about me just continuing talking for the next 20, 25 minutes. It is actually about you, getting your hands onto this amazing tool and practicing. And basically the goal with these 10 minutes is for you to enter the platform and as we saw, or we showed earlier, choosing and make a movie within a particular topic, answer the letter, basically by choosing the letter type that you would prefer, and then try to build the same way that I just did, at least 3 different scenes that would make sense to you for the topic that you choose. Sky's the limit. You can do it with math, you can do it with science, language arts, wherever it is you can build a movie for. And then choosing 2 different transitions for the scenes. If you remember, and I'll show it, if we are back on the platform, the scene transitions are located in between the carousels between each one of the scenes. So again, if I'm selecting between scene 1 and 2, a different icon off of the menu choice, in this particular case, fade out and in. And then for the second one, I'm just going to have, let's say, a crossfade. Now, let me go ahead and display what that looks like. By going in the upper right hand corner, there's a preview button. Notice what happens. It's the letter. I deleted the narration, but then here are 2 flags. The first one is the 13 colonies flag. Basically, that was created at the time, and we are comparing it with what it looks like today with the 50 states, our current flag for our country. All right, so that is basically the preview. All right, at any point, we can edit by simply clicking on the trash can. We can go to that scene and modify it just as we were doing it from scratch. So again, that just gives us an overall view so that we understand, hey, this is what it looks like right now. You can, you still have plenty of time. You always go back and modify it. So at this time, if there are no questions, I'm going to go ahead and get on the timer that is embedded and allow you for 10 minutes for you to go in and explore and practice. And if you have any questions while you're doing that, again, don't hesitate. Just come back, unmute yourself or in the chat and ask us, and we'll be glad to help. All right. We are back from our explore and practice time. And at this time, I would love to have as many of you as you like. Please unmute and share, honestly, like your impression. What did you think? What were you able, or you were surprised, or perhaps not surprised, or just overall your take on the time that you had to explore and practice with the Make a Movie tool. Please do share. Anyone at all? Bueller. No one? Okay. All right. Well, not a problem at all. We will go ahead and just move. I'm sorry.
I
Go
created
ahead.
one on nouns and verbs.
Okay.
So I created a slide, like what is a noun, what is a verb, and in the letter it said what is the difference between a noun and a verb.
Okay, great. And did you find it easy? Did you find it like, the steps were as described? Any surprises at all?
I thought it was easy, especially once I figured out I could search through the images and I didn't have to draw them.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, searching, I mean, they're literally there. It's like a internal built-in image search within the BrainPOP platform. That's stuff that is curated. The first ones that displayed are tied to that topic, but then you also have the flexibility. The students have the flexibility of whatever comes to mind, on their creative brains. So like, oh, I want to add this. That is going to be searched and found within the BrainPOP environment, even if it's outside of that topic. So,
Where does it
excellent.
save to?
It saves to the student's timeline. It automatically, I don't know if you noticed, but as you work on the movie, it auto saves, similar to the other platforms that we're familiar with,
Yes.
such as like the Google environment. It's auto saving, so there's no save button, and it gets saved to the student's timeline.
Okay, I didn't know if there was a way we could save it and keep it, or if it saved just in BrainPOP.
It's saved within BrainPOP, but it can be exported as well. It can be exported and shared. Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome, thank you.
Yep, no problem. Great question.
Mr. Arieta,
Yes.
is this used? I'm sorry, excuse me, because I know I use BrainPOP a lot in elementary school, but I'm actually headed to middle school. This can be used in any grade level, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. It's
for
on their class link automatically, like even in middle and high school.
Yes, it is.
Yay. Okay, thank you.
For sure. And there's stuff in there all the way for available, like topics that are fairly, I'm not going to say like the most complicated. I wouldn't call it like AP stuff, but there's stuff in there for like high schoolers as well. It's not just for like little ones. That's another great question. So
I just noticed on my verb slide that they have some of them where he's doing actions. So I thought that was nice.
Mm-hmm. Oh. Yep. Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. So the thing that I wanted to show you now is how to assign that, because obviously you don't necessarily have to go through that process of, okay, well, we're in this topic, let me walk you through it. If you want to be able to like prep, it's all about being efficient, right? So let me go ahead and, I have that save button there. I'm going to go ahead and exit out. And let's just say again that I'm going to search back to that topic. 13 colonies, building 13 colonies, and I have this landing spot here for the topic. Notice how I have this button that is displayed by the most awesome color in the world. What is that, Casey? Quickly. It is orange. It is orange. You took too long. So you basically assign through this orange button right here. Okay. And when you go to assign, what BrainPOP does, and by the way, this applies to any of the other components, but it basically goes through the assignment interface, and you can then go and scroll down to where you find that make a movie component, and all you do is you check mark it right there. All right, I want to assign the make a movie. Perhaps prior to them, I want to also incorporate, I want them to have a review of the movie itself, so I'm going to include that as well. And then I go to the bottom and I say next. I have to select the students. Here, mine looks different because, yeah, surprise, I was IS and I don't have classes and students assigned to me. So these are just like, make believe. But I would have the option here to select students from a class if I had students, and differentiate, or just say, hey, I want, Casey wanted Celeste to have it, or I want the whole entire class, or I want just Casey to have them, to have this assignment. And then once I go and select them, I go on next. I can provide a title here, 13 colonies make a movie. Add instructions here. I can include a due date. I want that done tomorrow, Casey, by tomorrow. And then I go to the bottom, it says assign on the yellow button. And once I click on assign, the next time that Casey logs in to to BrainPOP, okay, then I say, hey, make sure that you get into BrainPOP, and they're going to do it to ClassLink. Up here on the upper right corner, she's going to get a pop-up alert letting Casey know that she has an assignment pending, from me, for this task. Okay, so that is how you assign and make a movie within BrainPOP. And at this time, well, we just basically just gotta, have an open QA time about that aspect of the make a movie tool within BrainPOP, or any other concept of, that we covered within this tool.